What if I didn't have to PvE? What if I could ride a badger all day? What if there was a good MMO to play? What if there were no gimps? What if there were only pimps? What if I didn't have to cycle nukes? What if this game took skill and didn't make me puke? What if crafting was actually fun? What if I didn't have to smash the sprint key while I run? What if everything in game wasn't ass brown? What if there were no macros in town? What if there was no grind? What if the population was growing in kind? What if the alignment system was worth a shit? What if the water didn't look like it had oil in it? What if I didn't feel lag and players could sneak? What if RA chat wasn't filled with gimp speak? Well, guess it ain't no time for what ifs. What if gimps didn't beg for tools? What if the Greeks didn't sound like such fools? What if the server had a patch? What if there were roaming mobs to catch? What if clans didn't lose Hamlet's desserts? What if the game had polar bears on icebergs? What if players actually played this game? What if going one-hand spec wasn't such a shame? What if destroyer spec was worth underscoring? What if they didn't restart the server without a warning? What if the stat gains were faster? What if all skills you couldn't master? What if there was more content? What if the rules on siege stones weren't bent? What if these types of games required skill? What if logging in wasn't like swallowing a bitter pill? Well, guess this ain't no time for what ifs.
What if I was wrong, supposed to be here? And what if what I saw supposed to be near? What if I shook myself when I looked myself in the mirror? Put everything clearer. What if I was wrong, making the right choice? And what if I was down, hearing the right voice? And it told me to get up. It told me to get up. It told me to get up. And dust myself off, 'cause ain't no time for what if. Time for what ifs.